Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the news that Sunrisers Hyderabad are the new champions of the Indian Premier League 2016 as they defeated the Royal Challengers Bangalore on their own home turf in Bangalore, which, as I said, passions were running very high. Excitement was at fever pitch, and it was only an 8 runs victory. So you could see what a worthy final this was at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. And we were all waiting for a new champion in the Indian Premier League. And the new champion in the Indian Premier League 2016 was Sunrisers Hyderabad, led by that wonderful, led by the brilliant captain David Warner, who not only made his captaincy count, but also made a lot of sound with his bat in this entire Indian Premier League to finish the second best in the IPL as far as runs were concerned. But definitely, so I'll be talking about that. So I wanted to start off with that particular news, and then in England at Durham on the third day. Well, when probably yesterday I was telling you that whether Sri Lanka can really fight in the second innings as expected. They were told to follow on as they were all out for 101 in the morning. And then what a way for Sri Lanka. They really offered some door resistance, and for the first time in this series really looked like a team as they've closed the innings, closed the third day at a score of 309 for 5, needing another 88 runs more to actually make England bat again. But I'll be talking about that as well. But first, definitely the focus will be on the Indian Premier League, but definitely I'll be speaking about the Sri Lankan fight back there, which was happening at Durham when the Indian Premier League was going on. So let's get on to the Indian Premier League finals. As I said, this match was played at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. The excitement was at fever pitch. Passions were running high, and it was one was waiting for this particular finals to happen. So Sunrisers Hyderabad were the ones who actually won the toss, and contrary to expectations, one could say that David Warner decided that his wards would bat first, and he batted first and definitely justified his decision as Sunrisers Hyderabad raised 208 for 7 wickets of their 20 overs. So let's see how they raised 208. So it all started with David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan in the middle, and we saw that runs were really coming in thick and fast, as David Warner was the one, as usual in this IPL, as he has been doing. He was the one who really started it all by banging some boundaries. At the other end, Shikhar Dhawan was also doing a good job, and David Warner and Dhawan had got Sunrisers Hyderabad to a very nice start, as in 6.4 overs. So basically 40 deliveries, they had 63 on the board. So that really tells you that they were adding runs at a clip of 10 runs per over. In 6.4 overs, they had 63 on the board, and Arvind was taken for runs. Gale bowled. Gale dropped a catch too, but he was also taken for runs. Watson was clubbed for runs, and then finally the breakthrough came when Shikhar Dhawan spin was introduced into the mix, and spin was the one which really got the wicket for the RCB. As it was Yuzvendra Chahal, who has been doing a wonderful job in this IPL, picked up the important wicket of Shikhar Dhawan, who was sent back to the pavilion for 28 of 25 deliveries, 3 fours and 1 6. Moises Henriques came in, and David Warner at that time was totally looking in his element, as he had already already got on to his 50, and Moises Henriques was the next to go as Jordan picked up his Moises Henriques wicket for 4. And then we saw David Warner and Yuvraj Singh. Now, what was seen here, Yuvraj Singh definitely played a very good knock by hitting some sweet sixes and boundaries, and David Warner, but this partnership was going on very well. In fact, they had added 28 runs between them, as that was the and then Arvind was the one who nipped the big wicket of David Warner when he was caught by Iqbal Abdullah for 16 on of 38 deliveries, 8 fours and 3 sixes, and once again Warner showing what a tremendous contributor he has been to IPL 2016. So he was gone 125 for 3. Huda was taken by Kohli of the bowling for Arvind for 3. But Yuvraj Singh, as I said, was looking good. He was really getting the strokes from the sweet part of his bat. And Yuvraj Singh, once Huda was gone, Yuvraj Singh, after making 38 of 23 balls, 4 fours and 2 sixes, departed, caught by Watson of the bowling of Jordan. So that was 148 for 5. And then we saw Namanoja run out for 7, Bipul Sharma for 5, and Shane Watson was the one who was really suffering a lot at the bowler's hand. In fact, even Jordan went for quite some runs, but he was lucky enough to pick up 3 wickets. But Watson was the one who was coming in for some severe treatment from the SRH bowlers. And not only that, he ended up with figures of 4 overs, none for 61, and it was in the main to Ben Cutting, taking 24 runs of the final over bowled by Watson, which was the 20th over of the innings, and Watson was rammed. In fact, Ben Cutting actually hit 3 sixes in that over, and 1 6 actually sailed out of the stadium, and that was the monstrous hit. And I was told this was the longest hit. He sent one flying over the roof, and it was a 116 meters hit. So it was a real long hit from Ben Cutting. And Ben Cutting was the one who really gave a big thrust to this Sunrisers Hyderabad. And one knows how important that knock of Ben Cutting was, because not only did he do well with the bat, he also did well with the ball later on. But this 24 runs made a huge difference, as that put Sunrisers Hyderabad to a very tall total of 208 for 7 of their 20 overs, with Cutting doing a great job of finishing on a sort of a really clubbing 39 unbeaten runs of just 15 deliveries, of which 24 coming in the final over of Watson of those 6 balls, 39 of 15 deliveries, 3 fours and 4 sixes, 208 for 720 overs. And as I said, this was a big total, especially considering that it was being played with the RCB. One knew that even though it was considered a big total, SRH has to definitely had to keep a watch, and that's what they precisely did. Now, looking at the bowling, as I said, Watson's figures were absolutely ruined. His 4 overs was smashed for 61 runs without a wicket. Jordan also got a bit of beating, but the good thing was that Jordan picked up 3 wickets for 45 of his 4 overs. Arvind, I thought, bowled well, 4 overs 2 for 30, 3 overs for 24 for Chris Gayle. Yuzvendra Chahal once again doing his job, 4 overs 1 for 35. And Iqbal Abdullah, the left-arm spinner, just bowling 1 over for 10 runs. Now it was the turn for the Royal Challengers Bangalore to walk in, and we saw the pair of Chris Gayle and Kohli coming in to bat, and probably David Warner was influenced by the fact that he had Mustafizur Rahman back today, and he decided that his Wards would bat first, and what a decision that was. In the end, it proved to be the right decision. Now Royal Challengers Bangalore starting their chase here with Chris Gayle and Kohli opening the innings, and Chris Gayle was smashing it all over the park. They had a game plan. Kohli was rotating the strike. Kohli was giving as much strike as possible to Gayle, and Gayle had started right from the time he came to the crease, one quite over from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and after that Barinder Shran was taken apart by Gale, as Gale was hitting with that absolute nonchalance that he has, as he was sending sixes at absolute will. In fact, all the bowlers were hit for sixes. He hit Bhuvaneshwar Kumar for a six. Barinder Shran was the one who was suffering the maximum. Ben Cutting was welcomed to the crease by Gale with a six. Moises Henriques received a similar welcome. And while this was going on, at the other end, Virat Kohli was playing the anchor role there, and he also hit a few boundaries, as this partnership was really growing in great proportion, and it was really worrisome because David Warner was getting in all the bowlers, and each and every bowlers was being dismissed for fours and sixes by Chris Gale. And now the trump card came out, and that was Mustafizur Rahman. But after bowling one over, and definitely he got the the RCB innings under definite control, when Mustafizur in his first over gave just, I reckon, 4 runs. And that prompted David Warner to actually make a good move, I thought. He saw that Mustafizur was his trump card, and he probably wanted to keep him for the end. And that prompted David Warner to actually remove Mustafizur Rahman after just 1 over. But in the next 2 overs, we saw some real smashing going on with Gale, and not only Gale, even Virat Kohli joining in the fun, and runs were just cascading from the blade of both Gale and Kohli, and the score was really rising like a wave in a sea, as things were just going on. And in fact, Gale had already hit a boundary and brought up the 100 of the RCB innings in the 10th over itself, and that was pretty good going. They were absolutely keeping in with the run rate. There was no doubt about it. They were absolutely charged up, and it really required some real stopping from someone. It was a really big task for the SRH bowlers, and Royal Challengers were really riding a wave at that stage when 114 runs were added in 11 overs. And finally, it was Ben Cutting, the all-rounder, who provided them the big breakthrough, as he went on to pick up the wicket of Chris Gale, but not before Chris Gale had smashed 76 of just 38 deliveries, with 4 fours and 8 marvelous sixes being hit. So that was Gale, who had the lion's share. When the score was 114, Gale had already taken 76 out of the 114. So he was the master of the moment there. Virat Kohli, as soon as Gale left, Virat Kohli, in the company of A.B. de Villiers, decided to take up the mantle, and he started hitting some boundaries. And one of the strokes that Kohli played was superb. He in fact shimmied down the wicket to Barinder Shran, which was done with great skill, and that is something only Virat Kohli can do. He came down the wicket and adjusted himself and carved shimmied down and actually hit Barinder Shran over the extra cover for a 6. And as I said, when David Warner removed Mustafizur Rahman, runs started leaking, and that forced David Warner to bring Mustafizur Rahman back into the bowling attack. And then, so that was it. And then while this was going on, the score had reached 140, and 2 dangerous batsmen in the middle, Kohli and de Villiers. But Kohli, who had just hit a sort of a 6 of the bowling of Barinder Shran and also a boundary, suddenly find himself out to Barinder Shran, as Kohli actually missed the line of the ball, trying a big hit at Barinder Shran, and lost his stumps. But what Virat Kohli had done, he has gone to another 50, and that was a record, as he had broken the record of Chris Gale. The record stood in the name of Chris Gale, who had scored the maximum number of 50s in IPL in one single season, and Kohli broke it today with another 50. 54 of 35 balls, 5 fours and 2 sixes. And Virat Kohli, very unfortunately, missed becoming the first person in IPL history to score 1000 runs in a season, as he had to score 81 runs in this particular match, and unfortunately that didn't happen. And one felt very sorry for Virat Kohli. I thought he has really played absolutely greatly in this particular IPL, and it was very sad to see Kohli depart, bowled by Shan for 54. And then once this Gale and Kohli had gone, this particular Sunrisers Hyderabad the RCB innings totally dwindled, as wickets started going pretty quickly, as AB de Villiers was the next to go, as Bipul Sharma, left-arm spinner, picked up his wicket, as AB de Villiers attempting a big hike at the bowling of Bipul Sharma, was caught by Enriquez for 5. After that, reliable KL Rahul was clean bowled by cutting for 11 of 9 balls with 1-4. Watson's wicket was taken by Mustafizur Rahman. At that time, 51 runs were recorded in the last 5 overs, with Watson and Sachin Baby at the wicket. But Mustafizur Rahman came in and picked up the wicket of Sean Watson, who attempted a big hit. He was gone for 11 of 9 balls with 1-4. And now Stuart Binney strode in, and the very first delivery that he picked up from Mustafizur Rahman, he clouted it over the long on fence for a 6. But that was it. But after that, Stuart Binney in the next over was run out for 9. We also saw Jordan being run out for 3. And finally, the match came down to the wire, with only Sachin Baby left as the most recognized batsman. And SRH, the Sunrisers Hyderabad, had bounced back big time there in that match once Gale and Kohli had departed and AB de Villiers had departed. And then it was Sachin Baby who also hit a 6, and the penultimate, the final ball, the penultimate over, and then finally the equation came down to 24 runs required of the final over. Sachin Baby was there at the crease, but as I said, it was not so easy, because Mustafizur Rahman did a good job by finding, but Bhuvaneshwar Kumar did a wonderful job. In fact, before that, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was in one particular over, he speared in 4 Yorkers. I think it was in the 18th over, I suppose, that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar did a great job of spearing in those Yorkers, and he only gave away 7 runs, and that really piled on the pressure on the Royal Challengers Bangalore batsmen. And Sachin Baby finally, in the final over, all that they could muster was something very less, as it was not enough, as they ended up with 16 runs in that over, but it was not really enough, which left the score, they were restricted to 200 for 7. Sachin Baby was not on 18 of 10 balls, 1-4 and 1-6. Iqbal Abdullah was not on 4. And as I said, Sunrisers Hyderabad were the newly crowned champions of Indian Premier League 2016, and congratulations to them, to David Warner and his team. I thought David Warner has not only led the team from the front with his captaincy, but he has made some great statements with the bat too. As far as the bowling was concerned, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar absolutely on the money, the best bowler, I would say. 4 overs, none for 25. He has been bowling those Yorkers with pinpoint precision, and he has already credited that to Ashish Nehra, who is not there, who has given him some friendly tips. Varinder Shran was caned away for 41 runs of his 3 overs with 1 wicket. Ben Cutting received the Man of the Match award for his brilliant batting, and then his very good bowling. 4 overs, 2 for 35. Mustafizur Rahman, 1 for 37. Moises Henriquez, 3 overs, was carved for 40 runs without a wicket to show to his name. Bipul Sharma, 2 overs, cost him 17. So Ben Cutting, Man of the Match. Player of the series went to Virat Kohli. And that's it. So the Indian Premier League 2016 is all over, and Sunrisers Hyderabad are the newly crowned champs of IPL 2016. Now the attention goes over to England, where, as I said yesterday, it would be good if Sri Lanka could really fight back. Just talking about what happened here on the third day's play here in Durham, on a very light note here. In fact, Sri Lanka lost both their wickets. They resumed at the overnight score of 91 for 8, and they were all out for 101. The first wicket to go was Suranga Lakmal, edged on to Barstow, the bowling of Brot Fernand, and it was Laido Tirumani who was trying to trying to hit a ball through the point region, skied the delivery. Compton took the catch. He was gone for 19, 101 all out. Anderson 3 wickets, 4 wickets to Broad, and Vokes 3 wickets. And now with 397 runs in arrears, Sri Lanka were told to follow on as expected. And Sri Lanka did a wonderful job. In fact, what one saw here was that Sri Lankan players, the batsmen had come with a sort of determination in their eyes, and that was to play at the wicket. And what was very good to see in the Sri Lankan second innings as far as the approach was concerned, Kaushal Silva was absolutely compact. Karunaratne was looking good. And the good thing that Karunaratne and Kaushal Silva, the openers, did was to see off the new ball. In fact, they wore off the new ball totally by staying together for almost 17 overs. They really saw off the new ball, and that was the good part of it. So that really helped matters. Even though they added only 38, that was not the key. Was to actually occupy the crease, and that's what precisely Karunaratne and Kaushal Silva did. And then finally the breakthrough came when Anderson and Broad were not able to provide them any breakthrough. Vokes came in and provided the breakthrough by getting a ball to Karunaratne, who actually paid it into the slip's hands. He edged the ball onto the slips. He was gone for 26 with 2 boundaries, which made it 38 for 1. Kaushal Silva at the other end, as I said, was really grinding away at the England bowlers, and at the other end Kushal Mendis came in, and Kushal Mendis showed some real flair as he actually went after Anderson and actually hit him for 3 boundaries in 5 deliveries. But then Anderson picked up his wicket by getting him caught. It was a good delivery, and he was caught by Baristow of the bowling for 26 with 4 boundaries. It made it 79 for 2, as Lairo Thirumanne was promoted in the batting order because of his first innings 19. But I have to say that Lairo Thirumanne was a victim of a wonderful delivery from Moeen Ali. Actually, Moeen Ali was bowling round the wicket, and this ball actually straightened from Moeen Ali, and Lairo Thirumanne's stumps were shattered. So Lairo Thirumanne was gone bowled by Ali for 13 with 2 boundaries, which made it 100 for 3. And definitely, even though Sri Lanka was showing some a brief resistance there, they definitely needed much more to come, and that definitely came in the form of the Sri Lankan captain Angelo Matthews, who strode onto the crease, and he started playing some stroke. But what was good about Angelo Matthews was that he totally took Moeen Ali absolutely apart. Started it before tea by spanking him for 2 fours and a 6, and then he continued it after tea. And the majority of runs, I think 46 runs were scored of Moeen Ali by Angelo Matthews, and that was a big partnership that came up. It was an 82-run partnership that happened. As I said, Kaushal Silva was a man, we all know that he has some wonderful technique, and he was really grinding away at the English bowlers, and he was waiting for the loose opportunity to score a boundary off. But Angelo Matthews was looking pretty confident in his stroke making, and he was looking very good, and the Sri Lankan innings was really given some shine by Angelo Matthews. As I said, he went after Moeen Ali by clubbing him and hitting him for lots of boundaries. As I said, the maximum runs I would say Matthews scored out of his 80 runs was all of Moeen Ali. The majority of runs coming of Moeen Ali, as he really took Moeen Ali absolutely apart. While that was going on, and the partnership had reached 82 runs, that was the time Kaushal Silva, who had offered some stubborn resistance to the English bowlers, was gone, as Finn got his first wicket as he picked up Kaushal Silva, caught by Baristow for 60 with 6 boundaries. And then we saw that Dinesh Chandimal come onto the crease, and Dinesh Chandimal also showed a lot of resistance, playing along with Angelo Matthews. But Angelo Matthews, after making 80 with 9 fours and 1 6, received a very good delivery from James Anderson, and that was it. Matthews was caught behind by Baristow for 80, and that was the end of Matthews. So that made it 222 for 5, and one thought that with the score at 222 for 5, probably one probably thought that the Sri Lankan innings were going to probably end a bit soon on the third day, but it was not the case, as Dinesh Chandimal got a very able partner in the Milinder Srivardhane, the all-rounder, and Dinesh Chandimal. Well, we saw some pristine drives coming in from Dinesh Chandimal, and he was growing in confidence as the day was coming to a close, as he finished on an unbeaten 54 with 5 boundaries, and Milinder Srivardhana, who also looked very good as he started playing some very good cut strokes, and he was really stroking the ball very freely there, and this partnership had added some valuable runs. In fact, this has become the highest partnership thus far for Sri Lanka in this Test series. This partnership added another 87 unbroken runs for the 6th wicket, with Sri Lanka closing the day 3 at a very good 309 for 5. Dinesh Chandimal was not out on 54 with 5 boundaries. Milinder Srivardhane was doing a great job, not out on 35 with 6 fours. And what one liked about this Sri Lankan batting was that they came with some determination in their eyes, and they allowed that to really come out in full measure and to surprise the English bowlers today. Well done, Sri Lankan boys. 309 for 5. Anderson 16 overs, 3 minutes, 40 runs and 2 wickets, and 1 wicket apiece to Wokes, Finn, and Moeen Ali. And now, but the job is still not done for the Sri Lankan boys. They still have another 88 runs to score to actually make England bat again. Now, if England bats again, then probably one would see Alistair Cook once again trying to get to that very magical landmark of 10,000 runs. But if not, 88 runs are still there. So the key would be that tomorrow Dinesh Chandimal and Milinder Srivardhane has to really, and they should be the ones who should be in a position to actually go and wipe off that 88 runs deficit. Now that is going to be the key. And also looking at things here, I think the new ball is going to be due, so that is also another factor which has to be factored in. So England definitely would have a real go at the Lankan Lankan batsman. Well, dear fans, friends, and subscribers, I think on this note, it's about time for